Hey, Dividend Dreamers. I'm here on a mission to inspire just one person to materially change their life through dividend investing. So if you're new here, consider subscribing because it might change your life. Okay, today I'm going to talk about thinking of money and investing in terms of buckets. I'm going to share my philosophy of separating money into 5 buckets and then show you how one of my buckets actually pays my rent. Yes, I'm not kidding. It actually is set up right now to pay my rent. So let's begin. What's my first bucket for? Well, it's for emergencies. That's right, super important. This is the one you want to set up first and fill up first. This is for anything unforeseen, like a car accident or health issue, or a surprise tax bill. Or it could also be for a pause in work, so that you can cover several months of everyday expenses if you needed to. Now, I keep about $25,000 to $50,000 in here on average, and with $50,000, that would cover about 6 months of expenses for me. So that's my first bucket, the emergency bucket, which you need so you don't have to derail any of your other buckets of money. My second bucket, and the one we'll be delving into today, is for rent. I have actually set aside enough investment in this bucket to fully pay my rent in dividends. Now, of course, I own my property, so it's actually my mortgage, but you get the idea. Recently, I was able to refinance down to about 2.8%, which has made my mortgage lower and even more affordable. So in this video, I'm going to show you what's in that bucket in terms of investments, and how it's fully set up to pay the rent. And the exciting thing is, it's ready to use right now if I wanted to. Your home is the greatest and most important fixed cost. In other words, you can't lower this expense at a moment's notice. And we all have ups and downs in terms of income. So this is the one expense you want to try to cover with dividends first as a goal. I can't wait to show you this in this video, my personal dividends, on how I cover it and how I've set them up in a separate brokerage to pay it out specifically. So the third money bucket is for everyday use, and it includes some fixed and variable costs. These are things like electricity, food, clothes, entertainment, gas, things that are always there, but can go up and down month to month, and you can control somewhat. I keep another $10,000 to $25,000 in there at all times, just depending on if it's tax season or if I have a big planned expense coming up. The fourth bucket, of course, is for retirement. And we're going to cover this in detail in other videos on how I've got it set up to coast towards retirement. Currently, I have about 1.2 million in this bucket alone. And so, what's the fifth and final bucket? Well, it's for play, of course. Only after I fill these 4 initial buckets do I start thinking about filling and using the last one. This is where I'd look to find funds for vacations, gifts, or purchases that I'd like to have but don't need to have. Hopefully one of the lessons you're taking away from this is pay yourself first. But more specifically, pay your future self first. Okay, so let's take a deeper look into my second bucket, that rent bucket. What I've done is actually physically and tangibly remove the investment money from my Fidelity account and put it into a completely different brokerage account, just to keep it all separate and distinct in my mind. I think this is really important so that you don't get twisted or sideways on what that money is for. So here we are in my TD Ameritrade account. And what I'm showing here is actually my favorite tool inside of TD. It's called the Income Estimator. And what this is it's showing the future forecast for the current investments that I have over the next 12 months. So you can see right here at the top, it's estimated I'll get $20,868 over the course of the next year, from November 2021 all the way through to November 2022. So you can see some things have already paid out this month, and the rest of the month, from November 10th through the 30th, I'll get another $926. In December, I'll get $1,400, and in January, I'll get over $2,000. Now, that's the first time this particular bucket of money has gone over that $2,000 mark, so that's very exciting. In February, I'll get $1,769. March, $1,400 again. April, about $1,200. And May, this is the biggest month here, $2,623. So you can see that the payouts go up and down depending on when the income stock pays that dividend. But over the course of the year, the average payout that I'm getting is right over here, $1,739 a month. So this portfolio is paying out a dividend yield of about 4.88%. And then down below, you can see what exactly I have in here. Which ticker symbol is on the left-hand side, the name of the company, when that next payout is, their dividend yield, the dividend price per share, how frequently that dividend pays out, whether it's quarterly or monthly, how many shares I have currently, my total market value, and then how much each one is paying me. So for example, AT&T is paying me over $3,000 a year. Right after that, ticker symbol MO or Altria is paying me just under $3,000 a year. So what I have in here is approximately $425,000. And that money is just churning out $20,868. And what's cool about this tool is you can actually change some of these quantities and see what would happen if you increase the number of shares that you have. But this is my actual current portfolio in my TD today. It's taken me a little bit to get here, but very satisfying to see that this $20,000, even if I lost my job or stopped working, I would be getting this $20,868 that would be covering my mortgage, and that money would be safe. So you see I've got 54 positions here. AT&T, Altria, Realty Income, IBM, Sunoco, AbbVie, Bank of Nova Scotia, Franklin, I love Ben, Chevron, Starwood Properties, the Good. And then I've got some other ones down here I'll show you. We've got BCE, Duke, Philip Morris, APAM, Pfizer, and you can kind of see the rest here. All with the dividend yield and, in descending order, how much each stock is paying me in cash every quarter, or in the case of Stag, every month. And that's how I plan to pay my rent with dividends. I have it set up to turn on at a moment's notice so that when I'm ready, I just start to coast as it pays my rent for me and I don't have to do anything. Now, as you may know, I still have my dividend stocks turned on to drip right now. And if you're curious as to what that means and how to do it, you can check out my other video on how dividend payouts work, where I also show my totaled portfolio payout as of right now and how to drip. This means that my rent covering investments will continue to compound and grow over time. So what will I do if the amount of dividends starts to be greater than my rent payment? Well, I like to use this analogy. Have you ever seen or been to a glacier? I had the chance to go to Alaska a few years ago, and it was spectacular. The color of blue in those glaciers is like a color that you don't think exists on Earth. It was awe-inspiring, and I really hope we can get our act together soon, enough to save them. One thing you'll notice when you're there is the intense cracking sound that happens right before a giant piece breaks off. It's shocking when it breaks off and causes a wave big enough to rock the ship you're on. Anyway, I think of my mortgage that way. It's this big glacier that looks menacing. But if I can take a chunk of money each month, quarter, or year, and put it towards the principal, then I've learned that I pay it down faster and faster over time. I've even recasted my mortgage to capture that gain in the past, which maybe I'll cover that strategy in a future video. Or another thing you can do is turn the drip back on for the extra amount in order to capture that gain on the investment side. Either way, it's not a bad problem to have. So that's how I've set up my dividends to pay my rent and my 5-bucket philosophy for allocating money. I'm well on my way to financial independence, but you can see I'm not there yet. I'm still on the journey, building my strategy brick by brick. I hope this has inspired you to get organized and get thinking about how you'd like to set up your financial future. Did you know that the average female investor keeps 68% of her portfolio in cash, according to BlackRock? That's just never going to help you gain financial freedom without depleting your resources. So if you're watching, really start thinking about what's holding you back. Or maybe you're a concerned husband, dad, or brother thinking about the women in your life and wondering if they're going to be okay financially. On average, women outlive men by about 7 years. So we're going to need to be savvy with our money. Feel free to share this video or channel with a friend, wife, mom, or sister. And I hope I can inspire just one person to feel more confident so they too can start to build a safety net for the future. Okay guys, remember I'm not a financial advisor, so keep in mind these videos are for entertainment and inspiration only. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. If you learned something or found some value in this video, please hit that subscribe and bell notification. It would mean so much to me, and I'll see you on the flip side.